Do you realize the most powerful tool you carry with you is not in your pocket, not in your bank, not even in your mind, it is on your tongue? Yes, the words you speak daily are the invisible architects of your destiny. Every morning, when the world is still heavy with yesterday's doubts, you have a choice. Will you repeat the language of fear, lack, and defeat? Or will you declare words that build doors where walls once stood? Say this daily: everything I seek is already on its way to me. Nothing can block what is mine by divine right. Do you feel how these words shift the atmosphere around you? Suddenly, you are not a beggar of life, you are a creator, a commander, a master of your reality. The spoken word is not empty sound, it is energy, it is seed. When spoken with conviction, it plants itself in the unseen and waits patiently to sprout in the seen. Can you imagine the change if, instead of repeating, "I can't," you said, "I can," and "I will," every single day? But beware, the formula works both ways. Speak defeat, and defeat walks toward you. Speak success, and success runs to greet you. Which will you choose? Say this daily: doors of success open wide for me. I walk into opportunities with confidence and joy. Watch as doors you never knocked on begin to open, as people you never called begin to appear, and as solutions you never planned begin to unfold. Remember, this fear is loud, but faith is stronger. Doubt may whisper, "What if you fail?" But your daily declarations shout louder: "I am destined to win, and nothing can stop me." So I leave you with this challenge. For the next 7 days, guard your words as you would guard treasure. Speak only what you desire. Say it morning, say it evening, say it daily, and watch the formula of success rewrite the story of your life. Do you understand the hidden force that rests on your lips? Every word you speak carries a vibration, a frequency, an unseen energy that rushes into the world to build or to break. It may look like ordinary sound to you, but it is not ordinary at all, it is creative power. When you say, "I can't do this," what are you doing? You are literally building invisible chains around your own ability. And when you say, "I can and I will," you are breaking down walls before you even touch them. Words are not casual, they are commands issued to life itself. Think of it: nations have been lifted by speeches, hearts have been healed by a single sentence, and wars have been stopped or started by words. If such power exists in the public arena, how much more power rests in the personal arena of your own daily speech? The moment you say something, you give your subconscious mind an instruction, and the subconscious never argues, never questions, it simply obeys. Say, "I am too weak," and your body feels weaker. Say, "I am full of energy," and strength begins to awaken inside you. Isn't it astonishing how quickly your words shape your reality? Science itself has begun to recognize this mysterious truth. Experiments with water crystals and plant growth reveal that positive, life-giving words create beauty and strength, while harsh, negative words create distortion and weakness. If water and plants respond so visibly to words, imagine the effect on the human heart, the human mind, the human destiny. Your body is nearly 70% water. What do you think your daily words are doing to you? Are they carving rivers of health, or are they poisoning the stream? Notice how children blossom when spoken to with encouragement. A single "I believe in you" lights up their face and fuels their spirit for days. Now notice how a cutting word, a careless insult, can wound them so deeply they carry it into adulthood. If that is the power of words spoken over others, what of the words you speak over yourself? Each time you say, "I always fail," you are writing failure into your script. Each time you say, "I always find a way," you are programming victory into your story. Isn't it almost frightening to realize that you are the author of your life with every sentence you release? Think about the way you talk about money. Do you say, "I never have enough," or "money slips through my hands"? If so, don't be surprised when your wallet echoes those very words. Instead, say, "I always attract opportunities. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways." Feel the difference. One statement builds walls, the other opens gates. Which would you rather walk through? And it is not just about material things. The spoken word affects relationships, health, peace of mind. If you declare daily, "No one respects me," life will send you people who mirror your declaration. But if you affirm, "I am surrounded by respect and love," you will begin to see kindness in faces where before you only saw indifference. Words are magnetic. They draw to themselves whatever matches their frequency. But some might say, "I only said it as a joke." Does life care whether you are joking? The subconscious mind has no sense of humor. It records everything. Each phrase is a seed. Whether you plant roses or thorns, the soil accepts both without argument. How many lives have been ruined by harmless jokes spoken over years? And how many miracles have been birthed by consistent, faith-filled affirmations spoken with passion? History is filled with people who transformed entire destinies through the discipline of speech. They chose to speak possibilities when everything looked impossible. They declared victory in the midst of storms, and what happened? The storms obeyed, circumstances shifted, reality bent to match their words. You might call it faith, you might call it energy, you might call it vibration, but the effect remains undeniable. Ask yourself, what am I saying daily? Are my words forming a palace of hope or a prison of despair? Imagine waking every morning and declaring, "Today is filled with opportunities, and I meet them with courage." Can you feel how such words would rewire your thoughts, your choices, your actions? Compare that to the habit of saying, "Another miserable day." Which of these two statements will build the day you truly want? The power of the spoken word is available to everyone, rich or poor, young or old. It costs nothing to speak, yet it can cost you everything if you speak carelessly. Each word is like a brushstroke on the canvas of your future. Every sentence adds color to the picture of your destiny. Speak fear, and your canvas darkens. Speak faith, and your canvas shines. Why not become deliberate with every stroke? Why not choose to speak only what builds, uplifts, strengthens, and multiplies? So when you open your mouth today, remember, you are not just chatting, not just filling the air with noise. You are casting spells of success or failure. You are shaping tomorrow's harvest with today's seeds. Say it daily, say it boldly, say it with all your heart, for your word is not just sound, it is law. And life, like a faithful servant, rushes to fulfill it. Why wait to see the harvest before you plant the seed? Isn't it strange how so many people want proof before they dare to believe? They say, "I'll believe I'm successful when I see money in my account. I'll believe I'm loved when someone proves it. I'll believe in health when the pain disappears." But that is not the way the universe operates. The law is simple. You must affirm it before you see it, because the unseen always precedes the seen. Look at nature itself. A farmer never demands proof of the crop before sowing the seed. He doesn't stand in the empty field and cry, "Show me corn, and then I will plant." How absurd would that be? Instead, he plants with confidence, affirms with action, and trusts the invisible process. Days, weeks, and months later, the harvest comes. So why should your life be any different? Your affirmations are the seeds, and your reality is the harvest. If you speak nothing, you plant nothing. If you affirm consistently, you prepare the ground for miracles. Affirming before you see is not about pretending, it is about creating. The moment you declare, "I am blessed, I am strong, I am favored," something shifts in the invisible. Forces begin to rearrange themselves in your favor. You may not notice it instantly, but the change has begun. Isn't it remarkable that the very words of your mouth can call into being that which is not yet visible? Consider how the mind works. The subconscious does not differentiate between imagination and reality. If you repeatedly affirm, "I am confident and courageous," your subconscious accepts it as fact, and soon your actions align with it. Opportunities appear, and you begin to carry yourself differently. People respond to you differently, and then what you affirmed becomes visible, but imagine the opposite. If you continually affirm, I am unlucky, I never succeed, what happens? Your subconscious accepts it, creates the behavior to match it, and soon life reflects your words. Isn't it terrifying how many people are affirming failure every day without realizing it? Affirm before you see, because waiting to see is living in doubt, but affirming before you see is living in faith. And faith is the creative force that moves mountains. When you say, I am prosperous, even when your wallet is empty, you are aligning with the reality that abundance exists and is already on its way to you. When you say, I am healthy and whole, even when the symptoms still trouble you, you are inviting your body to rise to the words you speak. Can you imagine the transformation if people stopped waiting for proof and started affirming the truth they desire? But many will ask, what if I affirm and nothing happens? My answer is simple. Nothing happens instantly in the seen, but everything happens instantly in the unseen. Just because the seed is under the soil does not mean it is dead. The roots are forming, life is stirring, the process is alive. Will you give up on your seed just because you cannot see it the next morning? Or will you keep watering it with daily affirmations until it breaks the surface? The greatest mistake people make is inconsistency. They affirm for one day, then doubt the next. They say, I am successful. In the morning, then complain, nothing ever works for me. By evening. Can two seeds grow in the same place if one is watered with sunlight and the other drowned with poison? No, your affirmations must be consistent. That is why it is called a daily practice. Not once, not twice, but daily. And what begins as words will soon become life. History shines with examples of men and women who affirmed long before they saw results. Inventors who said, it is possible, when the world mocked them. Leaders who declared victory when defeat surrounded them. Artists who proclaimed greatness before a single person applauded. What happened? Their affirmations carved the path before their eyes could see it. And eventually, the world bowed to the reality they had already affirmed within. So ask yourself, what am I affirming daily? Do I affirm lack until lack multiplies? Do I affirm sickness until my body obeys? Or do I affirm abundance, joy, love, peace, until the invisible bursts into the visible? Life has no choice but to respond to the words you consistently declare. Affirm before you see, because if you wait to see before you affirm, you will never see. The cycle is clear. Speak it, believe it, hold it, and then watch it unfold. When your words and your faith unite, the unseen becomes the seen. Isn't it breathtaking to realize you hold such power on your tongue? Do you realize that every word you release carries the force of creation itself? Words are not mere sounds drifting into the air, they are living vibrations, charged with energy, shaping the substance of your life. When you say, I am successful, those words are not idle, they rush into the unseen, vibrating with intention, attracting conditions that match their energy. And when you say, I always fail, those words also rush forward, building a pattern of defeat. Isn't it extraordinary, and at the same time frightening, that your own tongue becomes the architect of your destiny? Think about the energy of light. It is invisible until it strikes something, yet its power is undeniable. Words operate the same way. They are invisible energy that strike the fabric of reality and form shapes, conditions, and experiences. This is why some words heal and uplift, while others wound and destroy. If words spoken in anger can crush a spirit, why can't words spoken in faith build a future? If a single phrase of encouragement can light up a child's eyes, can't a stream of daily affirmations ignite the fire of your dreams? Your word is creative energy because it impresses itself upon the subconscious mind. And the subconscious is the workshop of reality. It does not argue, it does not analyze. It simply takes in your words as instructions. Say often enough, I am strong, I am resilient, I rise with power. And the subconscious begins to manifest behaviors, habits, and opportunities that reflect strength. But say continually, I am tired, I am unlucky, I can't go on. And the subconscious faithfully produces weakness and obstacles. Can you see how faithfully your inner world obeys the commands of your spoken words? Consider the way people speak over their health. One says, I catch every cold, I'm always sick, and life seems to agree with them. Another says, I am healthy, my body is filled with energy, and slowly but surely their body begins to align with that declaration. Is it magic? No, it is the law of energy. Words are energy. Energy shapes matter. What you affirm becomes what you experience. Even modern science nods in this direction. The vibration of sound alters matter. Sound waves can move particles into patterns. Music can affect heart rate and brain activity. If organized sound can do this, then what of words spoken daily with emotion? Are they not shaping the invisible particles of your future? Every time you declare something with conviction, you are literally creating resonance in the universe. That resonance attracts conditions that harmonize with it. Why then do so many people waste their creative energy on careless words? They say, I can't afford this. Instead of affirming abundance, they say, nothing ever works for me, instead of declaring solutions. They joke about failure, not realizing the subconscious does not recognize humor. Do you think the creative energy of your words pauses to ask, did they mean this seriously, or were they joking? Of course not. It simply acts. Isn't it shocking to realize how many harmless phrases are silently shaping lives into patterns of limitation? Your word is like fire. It can warm a home or burn it down. It can light the path or destroy it. And you are the one holding the torch. What will you create with your words today? Will you set in motion a chain of success, or will you ignite a chain of defeat? Think back to history. Empires were moved by speeches. Movements were born from words spoken with passion. The destiny of nations shifted when a leader declared vision into existence. And if words can move the masses, can they not move your own life? What grander empire is there to govern than your own future? What greater nation is there to lead than your own soul? Say this daily. My words are charged with power. Every word I speak builds my life in alignment with my highest good. Speak it until you feel it. Speak it until you see it. Speak it until the energy of your words has no choice but to manifest in form. And remember, this silence is not always neutral. If you refuse to speak your desires, if you refuse to affirm your vision, then the energy of fear, doubt, and circumstance will speak for you. Life abhors a vacuum. Something will fill the silence. Why not let it be your deliberate, creative, empowering words? Your word is creative energy. It is law, it is blueprint, it is command. Every phrase plants itself in the soil of reality and grows into the conditions of your life. Will you plant thorns or roses? Will you sow weeds or wheat? The choice is made not once in a lifetime, but every single time you open your mouth. And life faithful, obedient, impartial life will create exactly what you say. Fear is a thief. It sneaks into the mind, whispers lies, paralyzes actions, and steals the treasures of courage and opportunity. How many dreams have been buried, not by failure, but by fear of failure? How many hearts have missed love, not because love was absent, but because fear shouted, you are unworthy? If you let fear speak louder than faith, your life will shrink smaller and smaller until nothing is left but regret. But here is the truth: fear has no substance of its own. It is a shadow. It feeds on imagination. It paints pictures of disaster and convinces you they are real. Yet what is a shadow without light? The moment faith enters, fear dissolves, because faith is light, and light always wins. Isn't it amazing to realize that fear only lives when you choose to believe its story? Reject fear the moment it whispers. Do not negotiate with it. Do not argue with it. Do not entertain it. Replace it instantly with a word of faith. If fear says, you can't, respond with, I can, and I will. If fear says, you will lose everything, answer with, what is mine comes to me with ease and stays by divine right. Why let the voice of fear dictate your future when the voice of faith can create miracles? Faith is not blind optimism. Faith is the certainty that even though you cannot see the road exists. Faith is the inner knowing that the universe is not against you, but for you. Faith is the calm assurance that beyond every closed door, another is opening. Do you feel the strength of such a belief? Can you sense the power that surges through you when you stand in faith instead of bowing to fear? Look at history. Every breakthrough was an act of faith. The explorer who sailed into unknown waters did so by faith. The inventor who built what had never been seen did so by faith. The reformer who spoke truth against impossible odds did so by faith. And you in your own daily life will rise, succeed, and transform, not by trembling at fear, but by embracing faith. Fear will always ask, but what if you fail? Faith will answer, but what if I fly? Fear says, what if they laugh at you? Faith responds, what if they are inspired by me? Fear demands certainty before action, but faith creates certainty through action. Which voice will you allow to govern your steps? Remember this: fear paralyzes, faith energizes. Fear contracts, faith expands. Fear says, wait for proof. Faith says, speak it, and proof will appear. Fear is rooted in the visible. Faith is rooted in the invisible. And everything visible today was once invisible yesterday. Isn't it breathtaking to realize that what you cannot see yet is already forming, waiting for your faith to call it forth? Reject fear daily. Do not give it residence in your heart. Fear thrives on repetition. So does faith. Which will you repeat? If you rehearse fear, you build chains. If you rehearse faith, you build wings. Say daily, I walk in faith, not fear. Every step I take is guided. Every moment I am protected. Speak it until your bones believe it. Speak it until your heart beats in rhythm with it. Speak it until fear has no room left to whisper. Some will say, but I feel fear so strongly, how can I ignore it? The answer is not to ignore it, but to replace it. You cannot simply banish darkness. You must turn on the light. You cannot merely silence fear. You must speak faith louder. Fear is like a lie, it disappears the moment truth enters. And your words of faith are that truth. Picture a soldier trembling before battle. Fear says, you are outnumbered. But faith rises within and declares, victory belongs to the courageous. Which voice will he obey? The battle is not decided by numbers, but by belief. So too, your life is not decided by obstacles, but by the words you affirm in the face of them. Reject fear, embrace faith, and watch the impossible bend into possible. Fear builds prisons, but faith builds bridges. Fear drains energy, but faith multiplies it. Fear shrinks your life, but faith enlarges it. Every great step you long to take waits for one thing: your decision to silence fear and say yes to faith. So when fear whispers, don't try, let your faith roar back, I am unstoppable. When fear whispers, it's too late, let your faith proclaim, it is never too late for miracles. Reject fear in every form and embrace faith as your constant companion. For where faith walks, success, peace, and victory always follow. The mind cannot hold two thoughts at the same time. Think about it: if you are dwelling on despair, you cannot also feel joy. If you are rehearsing defeat, how can you expect victory to enter? The law of substitution is the key that unlocks freedom from mental bondage. It teaches us that when a negative thought appears, you don't fight it, you replace it. You cannot fight darkness by wrestling with it. You only need to turn on the light. Isn't that powerful? Every day, thousands of thoughts march into your mind, some filled with hope, others dripping with fear. Which ones will you entertain? The law of substitution says, you are never a victim of your thoughts. You are the chooser of your thoughts. You may not control the first thought that knocks at your door, but you control which thought you allow to stay inside. Isn't it liberating to realize that you are the gatekeeper of your own mind? Imagine fear whispers, "You will fail." Instead of fighting that fear directly, substitute it with a higher thought. Every step I take leads me closer to success. If anger rises, don't drown in it, substitute it with calm. I release this, I choose peace. If envy tempts you, substitute it with gratitude. I celebrate others, and my blessings multiply. Do you see how transformation happens the very moment you switch the channel of your mind? This is not theory, it is law. Your mind cannot focus on two stations at once. If you allow a negative station to play, it will fill you with static, distortion, and confusion. But the instant you tune into the station of faith, joy, and prosperity, negativity loses its grip. Why waste energy fighting what you don't want when you can energize what you do want? Think of a garden. If weeds appear, do you argue with them? Do you shout at them to leave? No, you pull them out and plant flowers. The law of substitution is exactly that, the conscious act of pulling out weeds of negativity and planting seeds of faith, joy, and strength. If you repeat this daily, what kind of garden will your life become? Many people say, but negative thoughts come so often. What should I do? The answer is simple. Substitute instantly. Don't delay. Don't let the weed grow roots. The moment the thought comes, plant another. If you hear yourself thinking, "I am not good enough," immediately say, "I am divinely equipped and guided in all I do." If the thought says, "Money is hard to earn," instantly declare, "Wealth flows to me in endless streams of abundance." Isn't it astonishing how quickly your energy shifts when you substitute a thought of lack with a thought of prosperity? Children understand this law naturally. When they are sad, they often distract themselves with play, laughter, or imagination. They don't wrestle with sorrow, they substitute it. Yet as adults, we forget, and we dwell on the negative until it grows into a giant. Why not return to the childlike wisdom of substitution? Why not replace worry with wonder, fear with faith, and doubt with determination? This law also explains why affirmations are so powerful. Every time you affirm something positive, you are not just speaking words, you are replacing an old program with a new one. You are telling your subconscious, "Here is the new thought to dwell upon," and the subconscious always obeys. Isn't it extraordinary that with consistent substitution, you can rewrite your entire destiny? Think of a musician who hits the wrong note. Does she stop the whole performance to analyze the mistake? No, she simply substitutes the wrong note with the right one and continues to play. Life works the same way. Mistakes, fears, and failures are wrong notes. Do not stop your symphony to obsess over them. Substitute with a better thought and keep moving forward. Doesn't that make life lighter and freer? The law of substitution is not about ignoring reality. It is about creating a higher reality. When someone insults you, you can substitute offense with understanding. When life presents challenges, you can substitute despair with hope. When doors close, you can substitute frustration with the belief that another door is opening. And what happens when you do this consistently? Your outer world bends to reflect your inner substitutions. The great secret is this: what you substitute today becomes your experience tomorrow. Substitute lack with abundance, and abundance will appear. Substitute sickness with health, and healing begins. Substitute fear with faith, and miracles follow. You are not trapped by negative thoughts. You are empowered by the choice to replace them. Isn't that the most freeing truth you could ever embrace? So, when negativity knocks, do not open the door. Instead, invite in joy, faith, courage, and gratitude. Practice substitution until it becomes your second nature. For in the end, the one who masters substitution masters life. And yes, you hold that power right now. Do you realize how many times we plant seeds of good with our words, only to dig them up with doubt the very next moment? We say, "I am prosperous." But when bills arrive, we immediately declare, "I am broke." we affirm, I am healthy. Yet with the slightest ache we murmur, I must be sick. Isn't it strange how quickly we abandon our declarations? The secret isn't just in making positive statements, the secret lies in persistence. Persistence is the fire that turns words into power. Without it, affirmations fade away like whispers in the wind. Think of the farmer. Does he plant seeds today and demand fruit tomorrow? Does he dig into the soil every hour to check if the roots are growing? No, he trusts the process. He waters, he waits, he believes, and eventually the harvest comes. Why should your declarations be any different? Every word of truth you speak is a seed. If you persist, it will sprout. If you abandon it, it withers. Which do you choose? Persistence means holding fast to your word even when appearances scream otherwise. You may affirm, I attract wealth, while your pockets feel empty. Persistence says, do not waver. Keep declaring, wealth flows to me now. You may affirm, I am guided, while confusion surrounds you. Persistence says, keep repeating, clarity is mine now. Isn't it incredible how persistence can turn the tide of your entire life? The world often tests you after you make a declaration. You may affirm health and suddenly feel unwell. You may affirm abundance and suddenly face loss. What is happening? These are not signs of failure. They are tests of persistence. The question is simple. Will you cling to your truth or collapse under appearances? The one who persists wins. The one who holds firm sees results. Why? Because life cannot resist a mind that refuses to let go of its declaration. Many people think persistence means struggle. No, it means consistency. It means becoming so convinced of your truth that no storm can shake you. Imagine a sailor at sea. When waves crash, does he abandon the wheel? No, he holds tighter, steering straight. Your declarations are the same. When negativity crashes, you must steer with persistence. Hold your course. Doesn't that awaken a fire in your spirit? Persistence also builds faith. Each time you affirm your truth, you train your subconscious mind. Repetition is the bridge that moves a thought from the surface of the mind to the depths of the heart. And once the heart believes, manifestation is inevitable. Isn't it thrilling to know that every persistent word you speak is programming your destiny? Think about a child learning to walk. Does she fall once and say, walking is not for me? No, she persists, step by step, fall after fall, until walking becomes natural. Why then do adults quit after one failed attempt at affirmations? Why say, this doesn't work for me? You must be as persistent as the child. Fall, rise, speak again and again, until your declarations walk with power. Persistence in positive declarations also silences the voice of fear. Fear shouts loudly at first, but when you answer it with the same truth repeatedly, fear grows weaker. Say it again, I am divinely protected. Say it again, I am prosperous beyond measure. Say it again, I am guided every step of the way. Fear cannot survive in the face of persistence. Isn't that a miracle of the spoken word? Your life responds not to what you declare once, but to what you declare persistently. One drop of water does not carve the stone, but steady drops do. One affirmation may inspire you, but steady affirmations transform you. Will you be the one who speaks once and forgets, or the one who persists until the walls of limitation crumble? History is full of examples of persistence. Inventions that failed 1,000 times before success. Dreams that seemed impossible until persistence made them real. Why would your declarations be any different? Each repetition builds momentum. Each affirmation adds weight until the scales tip in your favor. Can you feel the power of that truth? So when you declare success, declare it daily, hourly, persistently. When you affirm health, affirm it morning and night. When you claim abundance, speak it until your entire being vibrates with prosperity. Persistence is the golden key. It unlocks the treasure chest of life. Without it, words are powerless. With it, words are unstoppable. Doesn't that stir something deep within you?